Gloves Off is always on point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.
Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
If you've ever wondered, if you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956-401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there.
Gloves Off, I'm Professor Buitrón, and I'm here with Webb County Republican Chair Bill Young. How we doing, Bill?
Oh, pretty good. How you doing?
How's everything?
Oh, real good. Been busy. That's about it.
You know, you all have had some great candidates come of age here, and you know we had three, and especially a young man from it's not our area, but from El Paso that was energetic, Anthony Agüero. I mean, he really impressed me on the way he was talking, you know, and it was. We'll talk about him later on in the show, but tell me what's been going on.
Well, you know, I went to Austin. I was there for 3 days. I was the SRC for SREC, which is it's the state Republican executive committee. I got to vote as a proxy for the state person that represents us, which is Terry Harper at Seguin. And we passed a lot of resolutions and stuff, made a lot of difference. One important to me was that if you're a city from under, and you have under 300,000 people in it, then you don't have to run in the primary as a county chair. Before, we had to always run us in the primary if somebody opposed us and stuff. If we get 10 signatures from our county, then we don't have to run, because you just submit that to the Secretary of State and you're approved as the county chair again. Because they only want that being done by the big cities because it's worth it to them. And they usually have a lot of opponents and stuff. But here, usually we run unopposed. So there's no reason to really put somebody else go through the whole issue of putting it on the ballots and stuff. Same thing is with county precinct chairs. You can run for precinct chairs, you have to file, you have to run the primaries and stuff. We don't do that here because we're too small to do that here. And that's the main reason. All the smaller cities were complaining that it cost too much money, it cost too much time for candidates to do it. And we want to support our local candidates like Dwight Dillman, who's running against Mr. Galo, and then we have other candidates coming up. We got Senator Whitten running against Henry Cuellar, and whoever the Democratic person is that's running for Congress. We have a lot of different people coming in. We have the man from the pastor from the church in I guess it's in Sutherland, Texas, and he's running, and he's a very good candidate. He's running against Safadini, and everybody needs to get to know him real well. He's a very intelligent man, and he's very honest, and that's what we really need to serve us in the state.
You know, what we need to make sure, because I'm neither Republican or Democrat. I'm always more in the middle of everybody. And, you know, we need to respect our conservatives, because there's conservatives on both sides.
Exactly.
Okay?
Exactly.
And we do have some conservative Democrats as well as conservative Republicans, and more so here in Laredo, because here in Laredo, it was always a one-sided political spectrum. It was never, you never really did have Republicans until now, and I guess you see more in the last elections to now than you have had in the last 30 years, you know, and that's just a fact. The problem that I see is that people need to understand each of the candidates, and I think this year's election is going to be different, right? Because there's not going to be separations of parties.
Right. There's no straight ballots, no straight tickets, as they call it. So they're not. I mean, if you have to vote on your beliefs, what you think is best for your city, for your state, and your country. And we've been doing a really good job of getting the message out. We're going to do a lot better job of getting the message out, because there's a difference between the two parties. It's very easy to see the two differences. All you have to do is concentrate, look at them, study the history, see what the two parties are about, and then pick your candidate that you think will do the best job for you. And I mean, I don't mind Democrats coming to our meetings, speaking to us. We need to know both sides of the party. We need to be educated. And if you're not making an educational vote. And I mean, I have confidence that our candidates will do a lot better than theirs. So I have no fear of them speaking to us. And no fear of everybody saying, well, what about this guy? What about... No. You can't be afraid of your opponents. You have to be able to listen to them, hear them, see what their faults are, and see what our faults are. Because sometimes our candidates may have some faults. But we need to work on that and do what's right for the city, the state, and the country.
No, you're absolutely correct. And we have to respect our Bill of Rights and our Constitution. That's something that I've been very displeased with all the Democrat candidates, except especially the ones running for president. All the presidential Democrat candidates, you can tell they do not respect our Constitution. They do not respect our Bill of Rights. And they do not respect American freedoms and liberties.
Right. Our values are different. And as Hispanics, most of us here in Laredo are Hispanics.
Of course.
Our values run different from a lot of other people's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, faith comes first in our families. Mm-hmm. Then the family comes second. And then third is our freedom. We respect those three basic things. Now, when you talk about, the difference between, what people want to do and what they have to offer you, you have to look at what they're offering you and what the Democrats are trying to take away from you. Because when you take away, I used to go, when I worked at the bridge, I was an immigration officer and a customs officer. I'd walk out every day and I'd say my prayer, check my weapon, because I know who I'm dealing with. Then I'd walk out and I'd look across the river. As I looked across that river at the country across from us, we have family on the other side of the river. Most of us here in Laredo have family on the other side of the river. There's no difference between the people. No difference at all between the populations. The only difference is our Constitution, our Bill of Rights, and our law enforcement. You take those three things away, and we're no different than the other countries of the world. That's what makes us different. Our forefathers were very intelligent and put forth basic rules of law, and we need to follow those basic rules of law.
And you're absolutely correct. And we've had some candidates out there, and we've also had some Republicans going out there, and we'll talk a little bit about the red flag laws and what have been proposed, and some of these apparent rhinos that switched. That we voted them thinking of them as one value, and all of a sudden they appear as being something else. Or they're just singing to the choir, that they're singing along with the choir that's being sang right now. But, we had a presidential candidate, which is, I'm going to talk about Beto O'Rourke, which there's a lot of people, even here in Laredo, they're waving his flag, Beto. But, we have to, as candidates, they have to talk with the truth. I'm going to tell you why. You know, Beto should quit lying. The police are not going to come for our guns. The military is not going to come for the guns. And just as they're not going to come for the guns, he's not going to get in the White House. Okay, so he should stop lying to the people. Well, nobody's coming for our guns, and no, Beto, you're not going in the White House. And that's plain and simple. So quit that rhetoric about you're going to come take our guns and you're going to do this and no. You know what? I hope the same Democrats push him out, and hopefully he doesn't run anymore, because he's under some kind of dream that, you know, and that's scary. And what's more important is the Second Amendment was written for us not to vote people of that nature into office. So, you know, that's very, very true.
The Second Amendment. The Second Amendment's the one that protects the First, the Second, the Third, the Fourth, the Fifth, the Sixth. If you don't have your guns, you can't protect anything. Every socialist country in the world, socialism, the first thing they do is they go after your guns. Then they go after your religion, because you can't fight back. Then they go after your freedoms. Any freedom you have, they take away from you. They're going to dictate from, if it was here, it would be Washington, D.C. would dictate exactly what you're going to do. And that's like when they want to get rid of the Electoral College. Why they want to get rid of the Electoral College? They want California and New York to control everything. The two states that have the most populations. Why? They don't want to give anybody else a chance to vote. They want to tell you what they're going to do. And that's why our forefathers put the Electoral College in, to give Rhode Island, Connecticut, Massachusetts, even though they're Democratic states, but the smaller states, a chance to have the same number of electoral votes practically based on population that the rest, but they didn't want the two major states to control the rest of the country. You've got different, like we have a lot of electoral votes, Florida has a lot, Michigan, Iowa, so people would never go to Iowa if the Electoral College was not there. But that all comes from our rights that were given to us by our forefathers. And Beto wants to take all those rights away, including the Second Amendment. He doesn't want you to have guns. He doesn't think that's right. And this guy doesn't even have, how much percentage of the vote does he have? Almost zero. Because people understand that. The American public understands that this man's a fake. He's a falsehood. I mean, he has a record that he always complains, oh, it's not a real record. No, he was given that because of his political status, that's all. So that's what happens. You have to be careful. And the red flag laws, we'll discuss that when you get ready to.
No, but let's talk about our races here. What do the Republicans and the ones that side more with the Republicans, what do they have to do? When do you all meet? When does the Webb County meet?
The Webb County Republican Party meets, we meet once a month. We skipped August because it was back to school and everybody was busy and people were going to college and stuff, getting ready. So we skipped that. But we have a meeting September 28th. It's a Saturday. LNF Distributors from 6:30 to 9. And, you know, we welcome everybody to come. As a matter of fact, it's being catered. This time it's being catered by Border Foundry. And so it's a really good deal. People come by. We have a good time. We talk. We discuss the legislature stuff. And we discuss our candidates. Let our candidates get up there that are vying for office and give them a chance to talk. And I limit everybody to about 5 minutes. I don't want it to go overboard. And that way we know what's going on. We have our treasurer give a report. We have everybody give reports and the committees and stuff. And I formed this committee, which is Republicans of the Rio Grande. It goes back to the basics of Laredo, Republic of the Rio Grande. We want everybody to remember that Laredo was the capital city of the Republic of the Rio Grande. And we give a history with it. And that gives us a chance to form a coalition to bring all the states, all the county chairs together and stuff, to work together to accomplish something. And at the meetings, you know, it's really a good time. We listen to everybody. I have Democrats speak sometime. So we want to hear both sides of the story.
Well, you know, you can't say this because we have some great Democrat leaders here. We got some great folks that are up there. And the problem is that the Democrat Party has done this to all Democrats, just left, floating around in the air, trying to see what kind of substance it is. You cannot grab substance in gas. You can't grab anything.
Right, gas doesn't.
And that's what's going on right now. So there's no matter. You can't grab anything. air, you know. And what happens is that that's what I think has happened to the Democrat Party. They're grasping for things that do not exist. In their minds, it does. Okay?
It's just like smoking something. They're smoking it. It's going into their lungs. They're exhaling it.
Yep.
But it doesn't really exist as anything. It's not a real matter. You can't really grab it. And that's what's happening. I mean, they're blowing smoke.
Yeah.
Any way you put it, they're blowing smoke.
And that, to me, is something that's different. You know, it's kind of like, now you're starting to see Democrats here say, wait a minute, those people are loons, man. When did they come of age? Wait a minute, they've always been voted in. It's because people here never paid real attention. They paid attention to the local races because it was always divided between a compadre or a friend or, you know, such like that for
People
years.
you know, that you meet
And
with every
so
day.
now people are being more aware. I don't know whether it's social media or the news or what have you, but people have changed. In the last 10 years, people's vision and how they've looked at politics changed. Okay?
Correct.
And I think it's great. It's a great benefit.
Well, we need both parties, and we need more than both parties. We even need independence, because that's the only way you get a balance. We need a balance in our government, and the way it's working right now, people can see it. Just like they say, we didn't raise your taxes. No, but you raised the appraisals, and everybody. It's the same thing. When you do the appraisals, that's raising your taxes, and I don't care what they say. There's a meeting at City Hall on around 4 p.m. or 4:30, something like that. The City Council's meeting. Everybody needs to show up there and say, hey, how come you raised my appraisals? You're saying you didn't raise taxes, but you're raising our appraisals. And that's something that's important for the city of Laredo, for the citizens to go look at.
You know, we have a lot of things to fix, not only within our municipality, all the way up to our federal government. There's a lot of wrongs and so on and so forth. But we cannot vote somebody for one ideology or thinking they're going to be this way, and as soon as the first crunch that they get up there, they cave. And that's what we're going to talk about, red flag laws. Now, when you're being a peace officer, we can talk about it. And our hearts are broken with all the mass shootings that have occurred, especially here in Texas. I mean, we've been hit a lot, okay? And everybody's blaming the law-abiding citizen.
Exactly.
Nobody's blaming the criminal. Nobody's blaming the law enforcement that dropped the ball. Everybody's blaming the law-abiding citizen.
Exactly.
And they're going to punish the law-abiding citizen. They're not going to punish the mentally ill. No, they're going to punish the law-abiding citizen. That's what's going on with a lot of these things that occurred. Our governor caved. Our lieutenant governor, he started digging the hole with the first step. He was the first one with a shovel. And then we had Crenshaw doing the same thing. And now everybody's kind of moonwalking back and saying, oh, we didn't mean that. We really didn't mean red flags. What we meant was this. No, you said red flag. Red flag was what came out of your mouth. Okay?
And red flag law means you're guilty until you prove yourself innocent, which is exactly against the Constitution, against the laws of the United States. You can't say somebody's guilty and they have to prove they're innocent. No, you have to prove they're guilty before that. They don't have to prove they're innocent. You have to prove they're guilty. But red flag law completely throws that down the road. It goes right against everything we've ever been brought up to believe, that you're innocent until proven guilty.
No, you're absolutely correct. You know, and I want you to explain to the folks out there what Abbott came up with towards the law enforcement and how he wants to handle matters. And he's allowing the DPS to come out with these programs and so on and so forth for people who kind of get an understanding. The understanding right now is they're giving police a hand for them to basically say, okay, we're going to confiscate all your guns without you ever being processed.
Exactly. Well, what they're saying is, the way they were, I don't know if it's going to go through or not. What they were saying is, we discussed this up in Austin when all of us were together. And the Republican Party was really upset over it. Everybody there voted against it. And they passed a resolution. They want to have Abbott call a special session because they want certain things passed that they didn't put into the session, the legislative session. All our rhinos up there did nothing. So the thing is, he wants to give law enforcement the authority to go confiscate your weapons without any issue, warrant, anything else, just because they believe that you're going to do something wrong. And like I said, that's against the amendments, and that's against the Constitution of the United States. It's against our laws. So they're giving them power. They're going around the law and give these people power. And if you have somebody that doesn't like you, say it's an ex brother-in-law, an ex-wife, anything, they can say, "Oh, that guy's crazy. Go take his guns." And so they're going to come confiscate your guns based on what that person said. And that's illegal. That's why the laws have been put the way they are, to protect you from that particular instance.
I look at this because we have some great peace officers out there, and I'm directing this to you all. But as well as we have some great police officers, we got some peace officers out there that should belong behind bars. Okay? And these guys are what I call the ass kissers of the world. And I'm going to use that term because it happens. These are the guys that are going to come in and confiscate your guns. It's not going to be the good guy. And when you have individuals, especially counties, which we have corrupt sheriffs, we have corrupt constables, we have those kind of issues in there that if you put a wrong political sign, they arrest you, they threaten you, all this other stuff. These laws will become very, very dangerous in those hands.
Exactly. Look,
and
look at all the law enforcement officers that were arrested, Hidalgo County, all the way down in the valley.
You know, we did not so hard ago. We've had that here in Webb County
Exactly.
with deputies acting that way. It's happened. Police officers acting that way, and so we have to be very careful for not only our safety, number one, and the sanity of the community. Because once somebody starts crying wolf, we can have another Salem witch hunt coming of age any time of the week, any time of the year, especially under these laws. So these are very, very bad laws that are being passed, and we have to be very, very careful.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right on that. I mean, you have, I worked with federal officers that were very good officers, and yet we had some that weren't very good that were arrested and prosecuted. That's what you have to watch out for. And these laws will give the bad people a chance to really take advantage of good, law-abiding citizens. And that's what we don't want. The other thing is, you know, even the pastor that had his 18-year-old daughter killed, he's not for the gun control laws. He says no, because the guy that came running across the street barefooted, he told me that man protected his church, his people in his church. Because he said the man that was in the church had to turn and confront that man. And they had to shoot out, and the guy went and jumped in the car and took off, and he chased him. So if it hadn't been for him, there would have been a lot more people killed. So he says if that man had had the right to have that weapon, all his good people would have been killed. Who was going to protect them?
You know, now I'm going to step back, because that's, you know, and I heard that, and I did not know, and then I had interviewed him, and that just broke my heart when he was right here in front of me. And I'm going to step back a little bit, back into our conversation with law enforcement. A lot of these mass shootings, law enforcement knew that this was going to occur. The FBI knew that these shootings were going to occur. And they are not being punished for dropping the ball.
Exactly. Because they dropped the ball. There was information.
You know, they had people killed because they dropped the ball. When are we going to hold them responsible? And under these laws, if these laws go into effect, like they say, let's say there's a mass shooting law.
Right.
Okay? Let's call it a mass shooting law. And it was reported to an agent, reported to this. The chief of that agent, guess what? You're suspended. It's not the agent that picked up the thing. It's you for being police chief, for you not covering that. You should be suspended without pay until further this investigation is done and over. Something to those extremes for this to really work.
Well, I really think it should be the person that dropped the ball.
I understand.
I mean, if he didn't report it to anybody else, he just took the call, he just took the thing, he just threw the papers aside, that's his fault. And the other thing is, every one of these, some of them the mothers called, other people called them and told them. Some of these people had terrific, bad stuff from when they were juveniles, and all that was thrown out, but they knew it was there. You still have to check these people. That's what needs to go on. You need to have a really good background check on these people.
And you know, we all underneath, but we also, if our Congress is going to punish our law-abiding citizens, and our leaders and our governors are going to punish our law-abiding citizens, they better be punishing the law enforcement that dropped the ball as well. And you agree with that, and so do, you know, we're in that thing. So now just put everything together. Hopefully they pay attention and listen, because red flag laws have already cost innocent lives in Maryland and Alabama and Connecticut. It's happened, okay?
Even in Texas.
Even in Texas, yeah, you're right.
Because they called.
What do you have there?
I have I have a lot of resolutions that we went through when I was up in Austin. And one of them is very good. It was written by the Hidalgo County people. It's a resolution that goes like this. It has come to our attention that the resolution below was not forwarded to the SREC after it was approved by the quorum of Hidalgo County Republicans. There is a live stream record of the meeting, and it goes on to say, whereas the 86th Texas legislation session was a disappointing legislation session, and the Republican legislators failed to pass any of the 5 legislative priorities, despite having Republican majorities in both the Texas House and the Texas Senate, as well as a Republican governor. And whereas the delegates to the 2018 Republican Party of Texas State Convention and Executive Committee together adopted the 5 main legislative priorities for the 86th Texas Legislature, and whereas the 5 legislative priorities include passing legislation for constitutional carry, ending taxpayers-funded lobbying, abolishing abortion, abolishing the maintenance and operation of school property tax, and protecting the religious freedom and privacy. And whereas the grassroots work diligently to ensure both the Texas House and Texas Senate, together with Texas Governor's Office, were able to maintain Republican majorities. So in other words, they were very disappointed with what the legislation did, because our legislators who we voted in there didn't pass the respect priorities that we put up there. We had 5 priorities. And all those were to protect the citizens of Texas from exorbitant taxes, from taking away our rights, protecting our constitutional carry, the Second Amendment. And I mean, there were 5 good priorities that were platforms strictly to protect the citizens of Texas from out of control governors and stuff in the state and even the federal government. And they didn't pass it. They didn't listen to us. And why? That's what we're trying to find out right now, what the governor calls special session to address these issues. Because these issues have to be addressed.
Well, hopefully they're addressed, and we will not get anything out, but hopefully we can start getting the voice out to pay attention on who your candidate is.
Exactly.
Listen to them, listen why they're running. Not only that, look who's running, who's pulling their strings. Because every candidate has his strings pulled, period. Who's the puppet master of each candidate? Plain and simple. That's what I've come to a conclusion of.
Well, there's a big resolution passed at the convention I was just at, that it was an executive committee meeting, and they passed that they need to look and bring back the integrity to the Texas House and Senate.
Sure.
And they're really interested in going after them. And they passed it, and they sent it to the governor and everybody else, all the state legislatures, and it will pass. They want to bring that back. Anybody that they can see doesn't have the integrity, they're going to get rid of them. That's it. They're asking them to step down. And that's going all the way to the top. I mean, they're not.
Should, I mean, they should. You know, they and some of our I would say voted leaders, because they're not really leading. They're voted elected officials. Some of them have become spoiled. Okay.
Exactly.
And they need to be removed. So we need term limits. And I praise Senator Ted Cruz for pushing that term limits in there. I hope it passes. We need to do that.
We need to do that. People have been making a living off the federal government for decades, and they make a living off the taxpayers.
Sure.
And off the lobbyists. Because the lobbyists who control these people. Don't kid yourself, don't think about it. I mean, you go up there, you see it. And you learn what's going on through the back rooms. The back rooms are where the money's changing.
You know, being more facetious, I guess maybe we should change the attire so when they go up there, both senators and U.S. senators and U.S. congressmen, they have to wear a jacket just like the NASCAR drivers, whose sponsorship and which company's up there, but mandatory. You have to get a little, you know, let us see.
It'll never pass.
You know what I'm saying?
But you know it'll never pass because they're not going to do that because that's where they make their money. That's how they make their living. Of course,
but you know, maybe, you know what? These are the people that put you up there. You have to have them on your jacket every time you go up there.
Well, it's just like, you know, when you talk to people and stuff, whoever has the most money in the state, they decide, well, we're going to run the state. We're going to tell you how you're going to do this.
Of course.
And we even had that tried to pull up this last deal where one of the counties that has more money tried to say, well, we're going to decide who's the county chairs at these counties. So who's going to come to the executive committee? And the whole committee said, no, you're crazy. You're not going to let that happen. Because the rural Texas has a lot of votes. And they're the ones that really control Texas. It's not the big cities like everybody thinks. It's not Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. No. It's the rural counties in Texas. Because there's a lot of rural counties in Texas. And the rural people, most of them are ranchers, farmers, are hardworking people.
Absolutely.
And they're the ones that are going to control Texas. No matter what anybody else says, they're the hardworking people of Texas. Webb County, the other counties, the ones that work hard for a living. The oil and gas industry here. Can you imagine if one of the other the Democratic presidential candidates got in and said we're going to do away with all fossil fuels? What would happen to the economy of Webb County? What would happen to half of the jobs in Webb County? Because they all depend on these businesses. We all supply them with stuff. And we need to vote to take care of that. We cannot let that happen to us in Webb County.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When's your next meeting? Tell the folks out there.
September the 28th at L&F Distributors. That's the Budweiser distributors here right next to the Hardy.
It's a Sunday or
it's a Saturday.
It's a Saturday.
And like I said, it's going to be catered. We'll have food for you. We have drink for you. We have water, tea, coffee, everything else. Come by. We want to hear from you. We want as many Republicans as we can get, and we want as many non-Republicans as we can get to come to the meetings. If you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a judge, county judge, you're the mayor of the city of Laredo, anybody, come in. I'll give you a chance to speak. You can speak to our people. Our people want to hear from you. I offered Tejas to come. He didn't show up at the time because I wanted him to explain to us about precinct judges, poll watchers, everything. He can do that. He can come and speak to us. We need to learn the laws and what's going on. And that's the only way we're going to learn is we have these people come and speak to us.
Oh, that'd be great. Well, again, thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me here.
And folks, go pay attention to both the Democratic Party chair and the Republican chair when they're speaking. Learn, educate yourself, put it into your own mind of what you want to do and how you want to vote. Don't be pushed, don't be connived, do not be coerced or even threatened in voting one way or another. Until next time, peace.
Thank you.
If you've ever wondered, if you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956 401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there. Gloves Off is always on point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.